Hi, I'm Michael Hastrider, the BGA player. Currently, I'm playing in 66 turn-based games. I'm 29 years old. It says I'm from Florida. Recently got a friend. One at Beyond the Sun, one at Schrodinger's Cats, one at Century, one at Azul. I've won at a lot of different games, and as I win on Board Game Arena, these different games, my ELO rating rises. So there comes a point where you find your ELO placement, where you uh, you win enough so that you get to a certain point, but you can't break beyond that point because as you try to win more games, you won't raise your ELO unless you fight against somebody who has similar ELO as you. And if you both are similar in ELO, only one of you is going to, advance beyond that. I mean, you might win a couple games against some like a high rated player, like you're a 400 and they're a 700 ELO at a game. But for the most part, they're going to beat you more than you're going to beat them. Law of averages is you'll stay the same. So, in finding my level for Seven Wonders Duel, I may have leveled out. I feel with around 400, and maybe I can figure out some tricks that I can get better at it. But right now, that's kind of my general level. This is actually not what I wanted to talk about in the video, but I'll keep it in. The real thing I want to talk about is some people have found their ELO level at the very top, and those number one players have ELOs of 400, 500, 600, 700, depending on if the game has a lot of skill or luck. If it's luck, it's going to be a lower number for the number one person and a higher number if it's a very skill-based game. So with that, we're going to play a little game for the rest of the time here, taking 2 minutes to mess around. But in this little game, we're going to go through each of the different games that I'm familiar with in Board Game Arena. And there's quite a few, but we'll just go through them, and I've made a counter for myself to guess what the highest ELO rating is in a range of about 100. So if I guess 700, that means 700 to 799. I'm correct. All right, let's begin this game. So first off, we will look at, well, let me just show you Seven Wonders first. So here is Seven Wonders, pulling it up. It's going to be a little slow. Well, while that's loading, let's look up Seven Wonders normal. Currently playing the game of Seven Wonders. The only luck that you have in this game is the cards that you receive from your opponents. So highly skilled player will stop you from getting the good cards. So that kind of just means a little bit less luck. So my guess for Seven Wonders officially is, I think the highest rated person is a 700. Whoa, okay. You know what, I should have guessed it'd be lower. So I am going to increment that little counter there. And now we are at one wrong. Okay. So Magic Rat at number 1 for Seven Wonders. Iguana is at 5th place. I've heard good things about Iguana, but right now, Magic Rat 582. Very good. Alright, so one wrong so far. I'll move on to another game that's similar to Seven Wonders, Seven Wonders Architects. I'm going to guess, it's a pretty new game, so I'm going to guess the highest ranked player is a 400. And I was correct, so we will increment the correct. And let me see, did that work? Yeah, looks like the counter's working. Okay, moving on from there. This is Conspiracy Abyss. And I'm going to say the all-time for this, I think it's pretty luck-based. Let's do a 400. Alright, I was right again. Okay, I'm getting good. So 2 right, 1 wrong so far. Pandemic is a cooperative game. Okay, now a lot of these games that are cooperative, you aren't able to see the competitive ranking for them because they just decided to take it out, disabled it. It's not really worth it comparing how good you are at Pandemic to others because you're all cooperating and it's not a competitive game. I don't feel like that's fair, but I think it might help. Like, if you're playing with 4 players and there's one guy who's really low ELO, you might not want to play with them as much because they're going to ruin your score and do the wrong things. And so you you get some not wanting to play with somebody as much, which shouldn't be the feeling, I suppose, for a cooperative game. um, so yeah, also you would quit a game early collectively together if you were about to lose if it was a cooperative game, and that's not really fun either. So I understand why they disabled it, but I think it'd be just so cool to have a bunch of professionals at Pandemic all get together. Um, Similar to another cooperative game, if you like cooperative games, The Crew is a good one, and its competitive modes have been disabled. All right, and then we have Hanabi, which yep, it's been disabled as well. Hanabi, made by Antoine Boza. Actually, he's the same designer as Seven Wonders, and Hanabi's game actually, even though Seven Wonders and Seven Wonders Duel have won very many awards, and Seven Wonders Duel is one of the top 10 games in the world according to Board Game Geek. Hanabi won Game of the Year in, I believe, 2013 because it's just an amazing cooperative game. You'll have to play it, but if you like his games and you like trying to guess what somebody else is doing at the table, you like a cooperative game where you're not having one alpha gamer dictate how your turn should be, as Pandemic can kind of be like, then you should really check out Hanabi. It's one of my favorite cooperative games, but that's my pitch there. Try Hanabi. Yeah, Antoine Boza, maker of all the Seven Wonders, is. I think, yeah, you gotta really check out some of his games, especially Hanabi. All right, now we move on to Coloretto. Coloretto, um, you're picking cards and putting them in one of these rows, or you take a card from the row and then you score points based on. Just I won't explain the whole game, but you're picking cards or taking rows. Um, and the card you pick is just drawn from the deck, so there's going to be some randomness to that. I'm going to guess the top player is 400 level. Boom. All right. It's another correct there. All right. Next up, we've got. This is Martian dice. So, with Martian dice, you roll dice and you want to have more green lasers than tanks. And if you roll other things, those can be points. But if you had more tanks than green things, you lose the points. First person to 25 points wins. You just end the round, and whoever has the most points actually wins. Right. Current season. Don't care about that. I want to know the all-time best player. I'm going to guess I'm a 233. This game's probably pretty random. I'm going to say the top player is a 400. Whoa. Wrong. Hey, I'm pretty close. Maybe I can get there. Maybe I could be one of the top players one day. Who knows? Could happen one day. So 3 right, 2 wrong. That's alright. Then we got Ink and Gold. This is a game where you're traveling through a temple and trying to score the most points throughout the temple. And that's all I'll say about that. I'm going to guess Ink and Gold. I'm currently at 127. I would say the best player is at Ink and Gold, since it's such a luck-based game with how well you do in each of the rooms of the temple. Or expeditions. You have 5 expeditions. It's pretty push your luck based. I'm gonna say 400. Okay. All right. I was right there. And we'll move on to 6 Nymph. 6 Nymph, you're taking one of these cards and you're putting it out down here, and if you place the last bull card, you take all of the cards. And that's not good because each of the bull symbols on the cards are worth negative points to you. You don't want to have too many of these negative points. Well, they're worth negative points. You start with 66 points. When you go down to 0, you're knocked out. That's why it's called 66 Nymph. And the cards you draw are random, but what you play out has some skill to it. I would say 500. Whoa, 724. All right, I was off by 2 hundredths. That was a wrong for me there. And it's okay. Now we will move on to the next one. Okay, Agricola. Agricola is a game where you are building a farm. That's all I'll say about that. Worker placement. Most points at the end of the game wins. I'm thinking, as far as luck versus skill, this is going to be a lot of skill because people have figured out some things, some tricks. I'm going to say this is a 700s level. Yep, 700. And only one is in the 700s, so it's also interesting to look at the second highest ranked player, Ranier. I think he is a YouTuber. So that's pretty cool. I'll have to check out his YouTube channel and see why he's so good at Agricola. But yeah, so 100 levels higher is Pikachu's. It's important to look at those 100 levels higher. That could be for a certain reason. Either that person is has figured out something that nobody else has figured out, or something nefarious is going on. Because that is a huge outlier. Yeah. So with that, yeah, 700. I believe that was a correct on my part. So we will do that before we move on. Correct. And now we're moving to Sushi Go. Sushi Go is a game kind of similar to Seven Wonders. It's got the same concept. You're passing sushi cards around, to get points. My favorite strategy is the sashimi. You get 3 and it's 10 points. 2 or 1 is 0 points. So hope for getting 3, and that's a lot of points per card. As far as all time, I'm going to say this is a little bit less than 7 Wonders. What was 7 Wonders? 500, so let's go 400 for Sushi Go best. 600, okay. So maybe a little more strategic than 7 Wonders. Who knew? So I was wrong there. And we will move on. Okay, this is Takanoko. You'll never really find another game similar to Takanoko. Maybe Tiny Epic Quest is similar to it, but you're scoring goal. You have some goals, objectives, and how the board looks at the end of your turn, you can turn in these objectives for points. So you're just manipulating how a board looks and hoping that you don't make the board look similar to how somebody else wants the board to look. So right now I want 3 greens like that. I want my panda to eat a lot of food, so don't let other players eat food with the panda. The panda moves like in a straight line, so putting a yellow food there would be better. Leaving a yellow food there would be better for an opponent's next turn, because they can only move the panda once on their turn, yada yada yada, and the gardener grows these things. So you have these objectives. As far as the objectives are random, what you draw. So I'm going to say 600. There is some strategy knowing what objectives are out there, so you don't. There's some skill, I should say, not strategy, of just knowledge of the game. We're going to say 500. 600, okay. I was thinking I should say 600, but don't worry about it. Okay. We are at yet another wrong. Okay, so 5 and 5. Splendor. Splendor is a game where first to 15 points ends the round, and then whoever has the most points wins. And you're just grabbing these cards that cost gems and give points. And the cards also give discounts for future cards. Hey, that was a quick explanation for Seven Wonders, or sorry, for Splendor. But let's see, with that, I think it's very highly skill based. There is one thing, and you can add the luck if you want to on your turn for yourself. You can draw a card from the top of the deck and secretly have it, but and then you can try to complete that as an objective instead of one out on the board. Also, when somebody completes an objective or one of these cards, a new card comes out, and that could set somebody else up. So I will say there is some luck to it, but I think the highest ranked player is going to be a 700. This is a very highly skill-based game. Let's say at 700. Yes, I was correct. 700. Boom. Got it. Feels good to be right. Splendor. Okay. Now we are moving on to Potion Explosion. This one, it's really just how the marbles fall. Maybe if you figure out that initial skill, you're going to be getting better. But like I said, once you find you grok the game well enough so that you figured out something that few others have found, then you can start getting into that 700. But at this point, this skill of trying to find combinations with the potions, I think there is skill in that, but I don't think it's high enough to separate yourself from the pack, and you're going to be butting heads with a lot of people who have found the same skill. It's going to come down to luck at that point, how the marbles roll out. I'm thinking this is a 500s. Okay, I was a little bit wrong. Barely somebody's in the 600s. Okay, so with that, I got a wrong there. And moving on from Potion Explosion. Now we have Deuce. And Deuce, I'm going to guess, he's just placing out things on a board. I'm going to say, I don't know the game that well, but I think there's some engine building in it. That would take some skill. We'll say 600. Ooh, only 400. Wrong on that one. Okay. Onitama. Let's see. This is kind of like chess. Chess is pretty highly skilled. But it is random what cards you start with. You know what? We're going to go with 700. Boom. All right, there's a pro. It's at 700 level. So I was correct on that. And now, moving on. 7 out of 14. This game, Kahuna. I'm 81st place in the 81st. I'm 81st place in this game. As far as an all-time, I'm gonna say it's just placing bridges out based on the cards you draw and trying to control these islands. All-time, it's based on the cards you draw, but there are 3 cards out at any given time. I'm gonna say the best player. If I'm 81 with 245, I'm gonna say the best player is 400. What in the world? Wow, it quickly drops. So somebody's figured out the game, 780, and then like I'm not too far down from there. Okay. I was definitely wrong there. So move on from that. Russian railroads. This game you build up an engine, and yeah, engine building is going to be high up. What would you say the last one was a 700? There was an engine builder. Let's say this one's also a 700. 800. Wrong again. All right. I think that's good for now. We'll carry this on in another movie or another one. I kind of enjoyed this a lot, but a little bit too long for one video. So have a good rest of your day and watch the next one. Thanks. Bye.